soothing stroll, soaking in the beautiful sights and sounds of Chenyu Vale. From the misty valleys to the breezy peaks, the rushing rivers, and everything in between. And this is the newest area that has just been added to the game. And it's situated in northwestern Liyue. It connects the nation of Liyue to that of Fontaine. And so it has some familiar kinds of places and some that are new and unique. Off in the distance, you can see the Jade Chamber floating high above Liyue Harbor. And off to the east, of course, we can see, well, Chenyu Village in the foreground there. And far beyond, we can make out Dragon Spine and the cliffs of Mondstadt way out there in the haze. But today, our journey is going to take us to the west. Spread out below us is Chenyu Vale in all its splendor. And guiding us on our tour today will be none other than Cloud Retainer, the adeptus herself, one of the illuminated spirits of the Qiaoying Karst, and a demigod of Liyue. This is her human form, but she normally takes the form of a majestic and elegant crane. She is the most recent character added to the game, and I've only just got her, just starting to build her up, level her. But she's very suitable for a guide to this region, given that it is very near her home. So, why don't we begin with something very appropriate for a bird. And we'll start with a little glide. Just a gentle hop down here. And we can see these lovely lotus ponds sparkling below us. Let's just pop into here, shall we? Chenyu Vale is renowned across Teyvat for its tea. And you find many of these little tea pavilions spread throughout the Vale, intended for enjoying the rich bounty of tea leaves grown in these valleys and on these slopes. We will, in fact, be visiting such a tea-growing village very shortly. And we will no doubt find more such tea pavilions as we travel throughout the Vale. The mighty peak of Dragonspine in the distance there. The Skyfrost nail suspended above. Chenyu Vale is so warm and beautiful and inviting. It feels so far away from the frigid cold and the cutting winds of Dragonspine. One reason that I felt Cloud Retainer would be a great choice for today's wander is because she has this beautifully elegant garb reminiscent of bird feathers, and it looks so beautiful as it sways and she walks. It's quite mesmerizing. And matches the natural beauty and elegance of the locale. I thought we would just come over this way to enjoy the lovely lotus flowers. Look, there are some little ducks just paddling about in the shallows, pecking away at little plants in the water. Some fish is swimming about as well. Now, what's this? Some more native fauna here. I'm actually not familiar with this creature. To be honest, I just got here myself, and I've not had much time to spend exploring Chenyu Vale just yet, so much of this is new to me as well. This, of course, is a statue depicting Morax, the Archon of Liyue, and this nation's god. Look at the beautiful crystal embedded on the back of this ancient-looking tortoise beast. It looks quite peaceful. Oh, although it looks also slightly scared of us. Its rocky exterior certainly provides good protection, no doubt. Chenyu Vale is full of all manner of devices, interesting statues, fascinating puzzles, which is no doubt very appealing to Cloud Retainer here. She is a masterful artificer, legendary for crafting all manner of intricate clockwork machines. A couple of ducks here as well, having a morning paddle. Moyan here seems to be enjoying watching them. I keep calling our character here Cloud Retainer, and that is how the people of Liyue would know her, as an adeptus in her adeptal form as a crane. But in her human form, she is better known as Xianyun. Xianyun. And as you have probably noticed, we have come across a very picturesque little village. This is Qiaoying Village. Qiaoying Village. Look at, there's a little Kit Kat up on the roof here. Very sweet. The Qiaoying Village here is the one I was mentioning earlier, the one that is known far and wide for its incredible tea. The tea of this region is said to be of higher quality than anywhere else in Teyvat. The villagers here pride themselves on their tea, and it's distributed far and wide by the Xianyun Commerce Guild. Visitors come from all across the world to experience the tea here right at the source. And it's said that it's the natural soils and waters of Chenyu Vale that make it so well suited to growing tea. Oh, hello there, pupper. Good boy. Hello, sweetheart. I wish I could pet you. I would if I could. Sorry, boy. One of the worst things about this game is that you cannot pet the animals. Although there might be a couple of exceptions. I think this dog here on the bridge, Dae, it might be one such exception. Let's find out, shall we? Yes, we can pet it. Well, it says we're petting it anyway, but then it growls at us. Uh-oh, it got scratched by a kitty cat. Where could that cat be? Perhaps it's the one that Dae is staring at down here. Sir Pouncelot. That seems likely. Guess there's a bit of a feud between Dae and Sir Pouncelot. We will leave them to figure that out, though. We can see here the tea growing on these slopes, and all manner of workers picking the tea. These regal-looking mountain goats, as as well, walking amongst the rows of tea bushes. Well, despite beginning our wander in the early morning, night has already fallen. But nighttime here is equally beautiful to the day. Here, a collection of villagers are enjoying a pot of hot, fresh tea underneath the beautiful plum blossoms. Cheerful lanterns hang from the buildings. The architecture here is quite distinctive, not seen elsewhere in Liyue. Some of the folks here look like visitors from afar. Perhaps that couple over on the bridge. I just noticed there's a chest underneath that bridge. I'll have to go get that later. And this remarkable tree wrapped around an enormous mossy stone vessel crowned with a teapot is actually a critical part of the tea preparation process here in Qiaoying Village. This is the so-called cauldron, and its elemental energy is part of what infuses the tea here with its remarkable flavor. It's also a beautiful and iconic structure. And as a matter of fact, I believe that it may have been constructed many, many years past by none other than Cloud Retainer herself. At least so the locals say. Her artificing abilities are, as I said, the stuff of legends. And she has no doubt lived amongst these peaks and valleys for centuries, perhaps millennia. Here we can see baskets of tea leaves left out to dry. And up ahead, this beautiful structure is perhaps the most renowned tea house of them all. Or perhaps tea house is the wrong term, tea producer. This is Chunmeng Tea Works. Chunmeng Tea Works. And it is where the finest tea from Qiaoying Village hails. In a village known for its remarkable tea, Chunming Tea Works makes the best of the best. All sorts of items out here which must be involved in the tea making process. Baskets and pans. The tea here is not used only for beverages, although that's its primary purpose, but it's also used in cooking the likes of tea cakes and and such. Baking and other applications. The tea plants here grow on these slopes. It's fascinating that they allow these mountain goats to so freely roam amongst their prized tea plants, but perhaps there's some kind of symbiosis there. Perhaps somehow the grazing and browsing by the goats helps to produce the higher quality tea. All sorts of workers. This child here seems pretty excited about tea picking. Truly picturesque little village, and one that I'm sorry to leave behind on our wander. It's just so cozy here. But there's much more to see. Chenyu Vale. And so we best make our way up the path. You can see a cart here loaded up with baskets of tea, no doubt, ready to be taken to the next stop down the road, which, for what it's worth, is Yilong Wharf. Yilong Wharf, which is where we're heading. It's a bit of a journey there. To reach Yilong Wharf, we must head up into the mountains. We must follow the water upstream towards its source which is ultimately the nation of Fontaine. The nation of Fontaine to the west. Although we won't be heading quite that far today. Certainly, though, you can see Fontaine from Yilong Wharf. Xianyun's footwear here might not be the most practical for hiking in the mountains, it occurs to me. But then again, she is an adeptus. I suppose she can wear what she wants and probably get away with it. The adepti are deeply magical beings, and in the past, the people of Liyue relied on the adepti and their powerful magics to protect the nation from all manner of monsters and beasts. In the modern era, however, the people of Liyue have largely foregone the worship of the adepti. And it turns out the adepti are, for the most part, fine with that. They are happy to relinquish their role as protectors of Liyue and allow the people of this nation to determine their own fate, chart their own course. However, there are certain extenuating circumstances, occasional cataclysmic occurrences that necessitate the intervention of the adepti once again. Now this item right here is a droplet of Chenyu Vale water that has been infused with the power of another local adeptus, Fujin. And she has given us the ability to use these to traverse this region. And it's a little bit quick, a little bit jarring, perhaps a little faster than our current pace, but I thought we might use one of these droplets, or two of them really, to head up this hill and get a better view of our surroundings. So why don't we try that? Let's go for a quick little flight here. There we go. And from here, we can aim ourselves how we want. For instance, towards this next one. Let's do that. Ta-da! We use the power of the golden carp to shoot ourselves up to this lovely breezy hilltop covered in these beautiful poppies. I think they're poppies anyway. And from here we can appreciate our surroundings. We can gaze back down at Qiaoying Village. And it's rows upon rows of tea shrubs. We can look back to that little tea pavilion where we first began our wander here. Straight ahead there. And that statue of Morax with that column of light rising from it. There's the Lotus ponds down below. And in the distance, you can actually make out the Qiaoying Karst, which is where Cloud Retainer makes her home. Upon the peak of Mount Outsung. Mount Outsung. She lives there, far away from civilization, because, generally speaking, she does not like to be disturbed. It's a long way, a long and perilous journey for mortals to reach Qiaoying Karst and climb Mount Outsung. Nonetheless, they do sometimes make the journey in an attempt to confer with the adepti. But only the most desperate of cases are considered worthy by the adepti of their time. This beautiful mountain valley is threaded by this charming creek, quietly rushing away underneath this wooden bridge. These mountain passes are frequented by illichurls, known of course for their violent nature. They built these sorts of rough-hewn settlements and structures. Many a traveler has been caught unaware by illichurls and had their this way and enjoy the view from another one of these little structures. One of these tea pavilions, as I've been calling them. I don't know if that's the proper terminology, but it seems about right. In every one of them, or most of them at least, you will find a table and a tea set. I suspect this one is no exception. Indeed, it is not. Tea is a very important part of the hospitality of the residents of Chenyu Vale. And offering their tea is their way of welcoming newcomers and travelers from afar. Let's take a little jog back to the main route. And a little glide, of course. A very little glide. Look at these beautiful cascades pouring down from the heights. I don't know the name of this mountain, but if I had to guess, I might say Mount Yilong, because it overlooks Yilong Wharf, as you will see shortly. More gorgeous flowers blowing in the breeze up here. It's definitely a bit breezier in the mountains than down in the valley. Qiaoying Village is quite calm by comparison. As an aside, I'm probably mispronouncing the majority of the names that I'm giving here. I am no expert at speaking Mandarin, which I believe is the basis for many of these names. And by I'm no expert, I mean I don't speak it in the slightest and don't know how to pronounce any of these words. No expert is an understatement. Here we've got a pretty little pathway made of these rough-hewn planks. And as we've gained elevation up into the peaks here, the deciduous trees have slowly given way to robust pine trees that can survive in the drier and cooler conditions on these rocky plateaus and karsts. This looks a little bit unsafe, but I guess there's a railing down here. And would you look at that? Just as I was saying, it's drier up here. It looks like a little bit of rain is starting to fall. Just the slightest drizzle, though. But the fog certainly has rolled in. The mist, I suppose. Looks like if we want to continue fortunately, we've got a ladder. Look at these pretty flowers growing off the side of this platform. This rain is so gentle, you can barely see it, barely hear it. It's more of a misting than anything. Now we could continue our journey into the mountains and eventually into South Chenyu Vale. We are in the northern portion here right now. But I think I would rather swing around to the north across this canyon and then make our way down to Yilong Wharf, which we can see below us right now. Whoa. Cloud Retainer is not afraid of heights. She just leapt up onto this railing, but then again, she is a bird, so hard to blame her, I suppose. We could simply leap off here and glide our way down, but we will take the long route. It's perhaps a bit more scenic. Well, gliding would be quite scenic, I suppose, but it would be over pretty quick. By taking this route, we'll get to enjoy a little bit more of the scenery. And we'll get to enjoy the questionable construction of this extremely rickety looking bridge. Then again, as we've already established, Cloud Retainer is a bird and probably not afraid of such things. Look at how the moonlight is piercing the mist over the veil, illuminating it with an ethereal glow. Truly beautiful. And by night, we can see Yilong Wharf all illuminated down below. I think we will get a better view of it just up ahead, though. For being an elegant crane, our tour guide here certainly likes to stomp, take heavy steps. A little mismatched for a delicate bird, but Xianyun is a fairly opinionated and strong-willed sort, so in that sense, the forceful kind of marching step does seem to fit her personality. Now we could take the left fork here and head straight to Yilong Wharf, but I kind of want to go up these steps a little further because, as I recall, there is a spectacular view down to the harbor from up here. This promontory and the structure here is called the Yilong Dais. Yilong Dais. Like it's some sort of throne or perch. It's popular with travelers and tourists wanting here, no doubt, here to visit the dais. And Bingshan here is selling incense to travelers because legend has it that offering incense at the dais here will bring good fortune. Good fortune. Massive stone gate here is quite magnificent and affords us a very spectacular view down to the harbor, Yilong Wharf as it's called. And as a matter of fact, even further beyond to the nation of Fontaine. Now, if the weather were a bit clearer, you could see even further into Fontaine. But even from where we are right now, you could get a sense of the majesty of that remarkable nation. We might as well watch this here. This is a fairly fun little idle animation. It's a popcorn maker. Xianyun apparently likes popcorn. I guess this is the incense, the lucky incense. You have to risk life and limb out here by coming out on this plinth. For a mortal, this would no doubt be fairly terrifying, but for a demigod that takes the form of bird, it's no problem. You know what? Let's glide down from here. That sounds like a nice thing to do. Glide down towards Yilong Wharf. It'll make the trip a little shorter. That way we don't have to retrace our steps back down all those stairs. Way off in the distance there, now that it's cleared up a bit, you can make out Lumidus Harbor in Fontaine. Some very spectacular waterworks down here at Yilong Wharf. I'm not sure if this is some kind of lock, perhaps, to bring people and even watercraft up from down below. It's not quite clear, but it wouldn't surprise me if that's what it was. It does appear to be that way. It's a little bit like the waterways of Fontaine in that regard, like the aquabus canals. And here we are in Yilong Wharf, an extremely cozy looking place by night, with that architecture once again characteristic of Chenyu Vale, and all sorts of lanterns lending a warm glow across the village. something. Maybe it's their first time visiting Yilong Wharf. It's only my second time, and perhaps it's your first as well. Oh, look at this beautiful spreading red maple here. Leaves gently drifting down. It reminds me of Inazuma, where we have wandered before. Yeah. I would love to go back to Inazuma for another wander sometime. Why don't we head on up here? Oh. Yeah, this is definitely an elevator. I thought we might come up this way for a view. A view to the south, where I have not yet been. I have not explored the southern portion of Chenyu Vale yet, but it's extensive and looks just as beautiful as the northern part. This massive structure that you can see downriver is called the Jade Mouth. The Jade Mouth. And I suspect there is a story to the Jade Mouth, but I do not know it. However, I look forward to learning it. This is quite the structure we're on here. It juts out way above the water, far down below. More beautiful waterfalls running down from the mountains. Well, why don't we see if we can find a nice vantage point from which to look back on our route today, where we've wandered from the beautiful sights we've seen across Chenyu Vale here. I suspect that if we head on up that way, we'll probably get a pretty good view. Yilong Wharf here is, of course, famous for its tea, as is the rest of Chenyu Vale, but perhaps even more so, it's known for its drama. Great adventures, operas are put on here and played out by the locals, bringing people in from far and wide to enjoy the dramatic performances. And of course, it's also a bustling hub of trade, being situated as it is on the northwestern margin of Liyue. Last port of call before Fontaine. Let's head on up through the market here and up the road and stairs under crimson maples. And back out into, well, I was going to say the wilderness. It's not really. It's still pretty developed here, but at least out of the village itself. Until we find another beautiful little spot here. Oops, did not mean to climb up on that. A lighthouse is perched on this this point, looking out across the waters to Fontaine. And here we have another little tea pavilion, which seems so appropriate given that it's how we started our wander today, gliding down into a tea pavilion. Now this one is actually not set up for tea. No tea set here, but one can certainly imagine the residents of Yilong Wharf bringing their tea up here to enjoy the spectacular view. And what a view it is, friends. From here, we can look down across all of Yilong Harbor, south past the Jade Mountain. Somewhere that way in the far distance is Sumeru, the jungle and desert nation of Sumeru. Across the way, a beautiful peak, I believe that's Mount Lingmeng. And over there, look, way up there, we can see that promontory that we glided from the Yilong Dais, the canyon, and the questionable rope bridges that we crossed. And even further away, we can just barely see down that canyon. We can make out a little bit of Dragonspine way over on the border with Mondstadt. But this seems like the perfect place to end our wander today, in the sun amongst the flowers, marveling in the beauty of Chenyu Vale and its surroundings. It certainly is a spectacular place to go for a relaxing wander. And I hope that you have enjoyed coming on this wander with me here today. Not only is it a feast for the eyes, it's a feast for the ears, and a feast for the soul with its stunning beauty. Well, friends, thank you again for joining me. I do truly hope that you enjoyed this and found it relaxing. And I look very forward to having you back here next time. Farewell for now, my friends. And we've arrived at last at that part of the video where I extend my special thanks to these adventurers, these fellow wanderers who join me here and very kindly support what I do by joining my Patreon and my YouTube memberships. These illustrious folks that you see here are such a valued and amazing part of this community and this channel, and their kindness allows me to keep making the kinds of videos that I like to make the most and that you hopefully enjoy watching the most as well. Not only do they get to enjoy knowing that they're supporting what I do here, I hope they enjoy knowing that at least, but they also get some fun perks, such as their names on this thank you page, such such as early access to my weekend videos, and at higher tiers, they get access to a monthly poll to select the topic of a video here each month and have some say over the kind of content that I produce. And at the very highest tier, the Fusro-Da tier, those mighty wanderers, they get their names read out in a special spoken shout out in each and every one of my videos. And as always, it is my great honor to read to you the names of our Fusro-Da supporters, starting with Ragnar Ragnarsson, Drummer Brit, Jake Luffney, Odin's Son, Rango Steel, and K Time. You know, it's kind of awesome that those fine folks all have names that are so fun to read and that are like appealing to listen to. I don't know, all those names are great. They all are just fun to say and fun to hear. How coincidental, but awesome. Awesome. Like those people, I cannot thank them enough for their generous support. Beyond the financial support, just knowing that they believe in what I do here, that all these folks that you see here do, and want to see me continue doing it and continue enjoying it. It means so much to me. It's really, really kind and very, very generous, and you know, I thank them at the end of every one of my videos, but I mean it. I really do every time. I am extremely grateful for these people, and for everybody, all of you, you know, for watching here and participating as well. But if you would like to join these individuals here and support what I do more directly, get some fun perks while you're at it, you know how to do that, of course. There are links down below in the video description where you will find my Patreon and YouTube memberships, and I'm sure you can find a tier there that is right for you. Once again, a big ol' thank you to all of this channel's kind supporters.